Sonnet 18, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? By William Shakespeare. Original version. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderst in his shade. When in eternal lines to time thou growst, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Modern Paraphrase version. Should I compare you to a beautiful summer day? You are even more lovely and more gentle than summer. Strong winds can shake the fresh flowers of May, and summer never lasts very long. Sometimes the sun shines too hot, and sometimes its golden light is hidden by clouds. Everything beautiful eventually loses its beauty, either by accident or simply because time changes all things. But your beauty will never fade, and you will never lose the beauty you have. Even death will not be able to claim you, because you will live forever in these lines of poetry. As long as people live and can read these words, this poem will live on and it will keep you alive forever.
Shakespeare Sonnet 18 Commentary. Living Forever in Lines. A simple look at Shakespeare's Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? This famous line begins Shakespeare's Sonnet 18, one of the most loved poems in English. At first, the speaker thinks about comparing someone to a beautiful summer day. But very quickly, he changes his mind. Why? Because even summer is not perfect. Shakespeare shows us that summer does not last long. Strong winds can shake flowers, and the sun can be too hot or hidden by clouds. He also reminds us that all beautiful things fade over time. As the poem says, every fair from fair sometime declines. This means nothing stays beautiful forever, not even nature. Then the poem takes an important turn. The speaker says the person he is talking about is more beautiful and more gentle than summer. Unlike summer, this person's beauty will not fade. This moment is the heart of the poem. But how can beauty last forever? Shakespeare gives an interesting answer, through poetry. He says the person will live forever in the eternal lines of the poem. In other words, as long as people read the poem, the person will never truly disappear. This idea is very powerful. Shakespeare is not saying the person will live forever in real life. Instead, they will live in words. Even today, hundreds of years later, we are still reading this poem. That means, in a way, Shakespeare was right. There is also something special about how the poem sounds. It is written in iambic pentameter, a rhythm that goes like a heartbeat. Da-dum 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 da-dum. This steady beat makes the poem feel natural and alive when read aloud. It almost feels like the poem itself is breathing, which supports Shakespeare's idea that the poem will continue to live on. That living quality can also be seen in the way Shakespeare paints his images. The poem describes summer in rich detail, but it does not clearly describe the person being praised. The poem focuses more on the image of summer than on the person themselves. This makes the poem feel more open and timeless. Instead of giving one exact picture, Shakespeare allows readers to imagine their own idea of beauty. Another mystery is who the poem is about. The poem never tells us. Some scholars think it may be part of the fair youth sonnets, which could be written to a young man. But there is no clear answer. Because of this, the poem can feel personal to anyone who reads it. Shakespeare's idea that art can make something last forever appears in other works too. For example, the poet John Keats later wrote about art that never changes in Ode on a Grecian Urn. In modern life, we see the same idea in songs, movies, and books. People and stories continue to live through them. The final lines of the poem are very strong. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Shakespeare is saying that as long as people are alive to read the poem, it will keep the person alive too. In the end, Sonnet 18 is not just about beauty. It is about time, change, and memory. It shows us that while life fades, art can last. Shakespeare turns a simple question into a bold promise. That words can defeat time. And even now, every time someone reads this poem, that promise still feels true.
It's time to study new words in context. 1. The. Definition. An Old English word meaning you when someone is talking directly to another person. Example: I will always remember thee. 2. Thou. Definition. An Old English word meaning you. Example: thou art my best friend. 3. Art. Definition. An Old English word meaning are. Example: thou art very kind. 4. Temperate. Definition: calm, gentle, and not too extreme. Example: the weather was warm and temperate. 5. Darling. Definition: very loved, sweet, or precious. Example: the child hugged her darling puppy. 6. Lease. Definition: a period of time something is allowed to last or be used. Example: their apartment lease ended in June. 7. Hath. Definition: an Old English word meaning has. Example: he hath a good heart. 8. Complexion. Definition: the natural color or appearance of someone's face or skin. Example: her complexion looked bright in the sunlight. 9. Dimmed. Definition: made darker, weaker, or less bright. Example: the stars were dimmed by the clouds. 10. Untrimmed. Definition: no longer neat, controlled, or perfect. Example: the old garden looked wild and untrimmed. 11. Boast. Definition: an Old English word meaning own or possess. Example: thou owest great beauty and kindness. 12. Wanderst. Definition: an Old English word meaning wander or move around without direction. Example: thou wanderst through the quiet forest. 13. Grossed. Definition: an Old English word meaning grow or become larger or stronger. Example: as time passes, thou growst wiser. 14. Grecian. Definition: related to ancient Greece. Example: the museum displayed a Grecian statue. 15. Urn. Definition: a vase or container, often used for decoration or to hold ashes. Example: a beautiful urn stood in the center of the room.
Comprehension questions. 1. What question does the speaker ask at the beginning of the poem? Answer: the speaker asks if he should compare the person to a summer's day. 2. Why does the speaker say the person is better than summer? Answer: the person is more lovely and more gentle than summer. 3. What happens to the darling buds of May? Answer: rough winds shake them. 4. What does summer's lease hath all too short a date mean? Answer: it means summer does not last very long. 5. What is the eye of heaven in the poem? Answer: it is the sun. 6. Why does the speaker say the sun is sometimes dimmed? Answer: because clouds can hide its light. 7. According to the poem, what happens to all beautiful things? Answer: they eventually lose their beauty over time. 8. What does the speaker mean by thy eternal summer shall not fade? Answer: the person's beauty will live forever. 9. Who cannot claim the person in the poem? Answer: death cannot claim the person. 10. How will the person live forever? Answer: through the lines of the poem. 11. What kind of rhythm is used in the poem? Answer: the poem uses iambic pentameter. 12. Why does iambic pentameter sound special? Answer: it sounds like a heartbeat and makes the poem feel alive. 13. Does Shakespeare clearly describe the person in the poem? Answer: no, he mostly describes summer instead. 14. Why does the poem feel open and timeless? Answer: because readers can imagine their own idea of beauty. 15. What is the main idea of Sonnet 18? Answer: the poem shows that beauty may fade in life, but poetry can make it live forever.